We'd have to move up to get him.
At the end of the day, I gotta trust my instincts. We have an opportunity here. And one hell of a decision to make. We can build on something tonight or take a giant step backwards. One pick can ruin this city's dreams. The right one can save this franchise. Fans loving you one day, next day calling for your job. Experts telling the world how we'll get it wrong based on their mock drafts. These coaches telling me I have to draft this guy. Endless analytics, scouting reports. And all I'm worrying about is, can this kid live up to the hype?
You are now watching the Gridiron Rookie Pre-Draft Show, only on the DML Network.
Welcome into the DML Network and another episode of the Gridiron. It's your host, Expert, and you know I always got an all-star crew with me. First off, it's the homie A-Speed. It's Andre. What's going on, my man?
Let's go back.
Let's go back. Of course, we got none other than the OG Taz himself. What's going on, Tazarelli?
What's good, fellas? How y'all doing?
Man, we are doing good. And last but not least, we got the co-commish. It's Tone Dog in the building. What's up, Tone Dog?
What up, what up?
All right, guys. It's that time of year again where we start looking at some rookies coming out of the draft in the Dynasty. And we got a guy on the show today that just happens to have an opportunity to pick up two of these studs. A-Speed, you raped two users to get two top 10 picks. Are you excited to look at this draft this year?
Absolutely, man. When you have to look forward in your GM decisions. You can't just be, so worried about the here and now. You got to think about the future, and this is the future. That's how you build your team, man. You can't rely on vets. You got to be able to have some talent. These are some talented guys here on the Gridiron.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Tone Dog, how important is the draft in building your team, especially in a league like the Dynasty?
I mean, it means everything because, like Andre said, you kind of start out with these guys that are already on your roster. But to move forward, you got to build and you got to put in the pieces that fit your scheme. Not only the scheme, but it's got to fit to kind of the way you play ball. If you're a runner, obviously, you should be looking at some power guys on your line, a nice running back. If you're the guy who likes to throw the ball 52 times per game, obviously you're going to be looking for a quarterback and some good receivers. So, this draft is very important, especially with our high stakes season coming up soon.
And Tone, I'm sorry, Taz, can you also, if you don't do the research, can you also screw yourself in the Dynasty when it comes to the draft?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You can get that Stretch Armstrong award. You can mess around, get it every season if you ain't careful. So you have to do your homework and look at the quality of these players and make sure, like they said, make sure you're getting players that fit your scheme.
And Expert, I think the difference in superstar development and a quick development and a normal development guy can make or break his development. You know what I mean? It's so you can develop a guy so much faster if you got superstar development than a guy that's either slow, normal. It's going to be so much harder to get those XP points.
Yeah, so important. And unfortunately, we can't go through all the players in the draft. So we usually just pick 5 guys that we think are going to make an impact on guys' careers, on guys' legacy here in the Dynasty. And so let's start off with our first guy we're going to take a look at today. And it is LaMarcus Coker. All right, A-Speed, I'm going to go to you. What makes this guy so important for a team in the Dynasty?
You got to have guys on the outside that can match up with the receivers in this league. And Churlish is a big physical corner. He has all the skills. He got all the ball skills. What I'm hearing from GMs is that they're wondering if he can do it at the next level from a mental standpoint. And that's why some GMs I've seen around the league got a second round grade on him.
Yeah, I see that some people are saying early second, late first. Is this a guy though, Tone Dog, that you can maybe take a chance on and bring him into the organization if you have a little bit of time to develop?
I think so. Well, and then it all depends on like this high stakes season that's coming up soon. We actually don't have a lot of time, so you're probably hoping that he either comes with like a quick development, kind of like what Andre talked about earlier, or maybe even you might get lucky with a superstar. If you had like a full, 5 Madden years to get ready, I would say go ahead and shoot the dozen, because it doesn't really matter. You have enough time to do your thing. But that would definitely be a good decision that you're going to have to make as a GM coming up, at least with the age of the guys that you're picking and kind of like their overall development. Do you have the time to build them up, or will they be riding pine on your roster, taking up a roster spot?
Now Taz, he's got some marks against him. He's being known as a quitter. Is that going to hurt him when it comes to draft day? Or are we just going to wait and see what those numbers are when we go to the combine?
Well, I think the combine numbers are going to play a huge impact on where he goes in the draft. Because he has the size, 6'1", 214, and we have to look at his age also. He's only 22 years old. So, piggybacking off of what Tone Dog said, you do have the time to develop him. Yeah, he might be a little immature now, but, go to the right team where he doesn't have to start immediately. He can play with some vets that can coach him up, not only on the field, but on how to be a pro off the field. I think he'll be fine, and he'll be an asset to any team that picks him up.
Definitely going to be one of those top cornerbacks looked at here in the Dynasty. But let's move on to a very, very important position, especially in Madden 18, and it is the running back position. And we are going to look at a stud coming out of the University of Wisconsin, Mr. Lindsey McClure. Just a quick back, one cut ability back, can get up and down the field. If you let him into the secondary, he is gone. But let me go to the running back guru. It's Yoda of the running backs, H-Speed. Is this a guy that just makes you want to jump up into those top 10 and snatch him off the board?
Lindsey McClure is electric, man. He's definitely one of those guys that you want to get your popcorn ready, because you don't know what's going to happen when he touches the ball. He reminds a lot of the GMs that I've talked to of a Reggie Bush. They said that the guy, he's quick, he's fast, he got all the moves, he got all the intangibles, and I'd be surprised if Lindsey McClure doesn't go in the top 15 picks. Now,
Taz, when you hear a guy like H-Speed talk about this running back as someone that's a top 15 pick, is that just because he wants to pick this guy in the top 15, or do you really see a lot of talent coming out of this halfback?
I think he has the talent. Now, early on in his college career, he got into some trouble when he was suspended. But Wisconsin's head coach said he learned from it. He got himself together, and he's been a producer on the field. We've seen that. You can look at the highlights and just tell, he's lightning in the bottle. So I think, you got to be careful with H-Speed, because he'll take a halfback. So he got 2 picks in the first, in the top 10. So you never know. He might disappear and be a Washington Redskin.
That's true. All right, Tone Dog. Lindsey McClure struggles to pick that blitz up. Is that a big thing coming out of your running back, especially with the way Madden 18 is with pass blocking?
Of course. And, even kind of going back to his college days at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is known for these power backs. So this guy coming out of Wisconsin being kind of like a one-cut guy or a speed guy, or Reggie Bush, as Andre would say, he's going to struggle with picking up those blitzes, because he's not kind of like that big power back that are normally coming out of Wisconsin. And with Madden 18, with those blitzes coming off the edge and Up the middle, you're going to need to pick up the blitz to give your quarterback time to throw the ball. If not, these drops that we're kind of adhering to for the quarterback position are going to be null and void. You're going to have to either take off or take the sack. So the guy's going to have to hit the weight room. He's going to have to hit the playbook. He's going to have to kind of stay after practice with the guys and just kind of prepare to pick up those blitzes, whether they're coming from up the middle or off the side, or even to block these ends that are coming off the edge.
Yeah, definitely is an important thing with your running back. Stay in and block and help you with some of these speed rushes we got in the Dynasty. But let's go to another important piece for the Dynasty, and that is offensive line. And we are going to look at a guy coming out of the U, Mr. Darian Roos. All right, Taz, this is a big physical right tackle. Is this a guy that you can move around and maybe even get him on that left side where it's so important to have that protector for your quarterback on the backside?
This dude is a monster. 6'7", 332. He's only 23 years old, and I think he is going to be something special. I believe he can play either side of the offensive line, and really you could probably put him anywhere you want. But he is definitely going to be a force to reckon with. Any team that you're looking for offensive linemen, you better scout him out and definitely make moves if you need to.
All right, Tone. Obviously, Taz likes this guy. Is there something about Darian that maybe is going to make users shy away from him?
Yeah, well, this guy is a monster, like Taz really said. I mean, 6'7", 300 plus, like 330. So with that weight, he's going to have to kind of get it down a little bit so he can get these quicker guys that are coming off the edge. He's probably obviously going to have great impact blocking. So once he gets his hands on you, it's probably a wrap. But, with quicker defensive ends or guys that can kind of get around him before he can get his hands on you, he's going to have a problem with those guys just because he is so big. I mean, he's not the quickest guy, so he's not going to be pulling around. So I would say, you're not going to have him at guard running these power schemes that some people have. You're going to have to kind of leave him on the edge, leave him on the island, and let him pick up these guys and get his hands on these guys.
All right, H-Speed. Is this a potential hog for the Redskins?
We love the big guys and the big boys in Washington, and I think offensive line is always overlooked. Guys love the flashy, the receiver, the new toy, the quarterback, but it all starts up front. Is the great Joe Gibbs have shown you that you can win with a great offensive line and three different quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs. You can win. You can do it. But it all starts up front. Now, with Darian Rouse, the problem is a lot of scouts that I'm talking to, they saying he's going to have to stay on that right side until he, like Tone said, maybe get his weight down because he has slow feet. And those speed rushers, most of the time, is on that left side. And they will eat him alive. So he definitely need to get his technique down. It's going to be interesting to see what his combat numbers look like. I think that's going to play a big role in where Rouse ends up.
No doubt. Combine is so important with some of these guys. All right, we talked about an offensive lineman, and here's a guy that he's going to have to block. Let's move on to the defensive end. The captain coming out of the University of Texas A&M. It's Nicholas Rodriguez, and this is just a great defensive end. Very quick off the edge. Got a lot of comparisons to another Aggie in Von Miller. Tone, I'm gonna go to you first here. Is this a guy that stays at D end, or maybe you use him in that 4-3 scheme as a linebacker?
I don't know. Right now, I would say you probably want to keep him as a D end. I mean, this guy is 6'7". I haven't really seen too many 6'7" linebackers, but 6'7", 242. Maybe a slight concern coming from his age. He's already 24 years old, coming out of Texas A&M. But the good thing is you can put this guy either in a 4-3 or a 3-4 scheme. He could definitely be an every down outside speed rusher if you need him to. Some of the negatives coming out where that kind of needs to fill his frame. Again, he's 6'7", but he's only 242, so you would expect him to put on a few more pounds once he gets into the league. Maybe get some of that weight up so he can kind of be strong against the run.
H-Speed. So, we hear Tone talk about maybe that 6'7" frame doesn't work well as an outside linebacker. But can this guy be that run stopper that you need in the dynasty to fill your defense?
I'm hearing a lot of the GMs when they talk about Rodriguez, they're looking at him as a linebacker, not as a DN. They think that, like Tone said, at 242 and 6'7", they don't feel like he'll be able to hold the edge even in a 4-3 scheme. But if you have him out in space where he can use his quickness, he can hold up against the run. That's where he's going to have to definitely get into a weight program in the offseason, whichever team that selects him, and work on his strength. But Rodriguez has a high motor. He's very quick and explosive, and he is a flat-out dominant pass rusher.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and Taz, we'll finish with Nicholas with you. You saw some guys coming out with that smaller size frame, like a TJ Watt. You had even a DeMarcus Ware when he came out of Troy really didn't have a lot of weight on him, but over the years learned what he needed to do to become that dominant pass rusher. Is this a guy you can wait a couple years on as he builds that frame that he's going to need to be coming off the end every single play?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. He's already 24 coming into this draft. Now, I watched him play a couple games. I watched him play against Miami and then also play against Oklahoma State. And he's dominant on the field in the college ranks right now. He has decent speed. He gets off the ball really, really quick. He uses his hands well. But coming into, the DML, I don't know if he's going to be ready to play a linebacker role. You might want to keep him at a speed rush DN, but I don't know. It's going to be pretty questionable on his transition into the DML coming from college.
Now he's expected to go mid first round is where we have him projected right now. But this guy could how the dynasty is. He could fall all the way to the second round. This guy could be a top 10 pick. We know how important getting after the quarterback is. And with that, let's go to the last player on the list. And guys, all of those positions are so important in the dynasty. But we know that the quarterback is one of those spots that just everybody thinks about all the time. And we got a guy coming out of University of Texas, Kevin Turnbull. Now, this guy we know has the talent to play in the NFL. Everybody is drew for this guy to be the first quarterback off the board. But H-Speed, is there something that makes you kind of maybe shy away from the kid from the Longhorns?
Man, Kevin Turnbull is one of the great quarterbacks in this draft, and I'm hearing that a lot of the GMs, like I said, I spoke to them, and they're comparing this draft to the 83 draft and to the 04 draft as far as quarterbacks, man, because it's like 5 or 6 guys that legit has first-round talent, and it might be a 7th guy who has that type of talent. So Kevin has to, will he be the cream of the crop? Will he be the John Elway of this quarterback class? Will he be the Ben Roethlisberger or Eli Manning? And time will tell. The guy's father was a college football coach, so he has the pedigree. The only problem with Kevin is that he sometimes forces the ball because he's so talented. He forces the ball and takes sacks. So that's what Kevin has to work on to upgrade himself above the other quarterbacks.
Now, Tone, we know that the quarterback position is one that's really sketchy in the dynasty. We've seen guys give up a lot of things to go get a quarterback. We've seen guys draft quarterbacks in the 3rd and 4th round and be more successful than those first-round guys. Does that make users kind of shy away from the QB position when it comes to drafting in the top 5, top 10?
I'm not sure about shy away because you really kind of got to look at needs, and if that's your need and that guy is atop the board, yeah, you're definitely going to have to take him. He's the guy that you're going to have to give a strong look at. I mean, like, Andre said, he comes from an excellent pedigree as far as just, from the school that he went to, and his father was actually a college quarterback. So, I mean, this guy has a high IQ. He's a student of the game. I mean, this guy's a flat-out baller. Other than holding on to the ball too much, or maybe staring down his receivers, you would really have to give this guy a strong look, especially if you have a need to fill. And if you're picking in the top 10, it's almost besides Andre, you probably really need a quarterback.
Well, unfortunately, Andre needs a quarterback too. I don't think Andre can. I don't think he can go many more years with the QB he's got. But Tone Dog, one more question for you: is this a Denver Bronco? Is Kevin Turnbull a Denver Bronco?
He could be a Denver Bronco. I mean, you never know where the chips may fall. I would definitely take a hard look at this guy because I mean, Paxton Lynch, he's okay, but I'm not a hot tub, so I'm not the quarterback whisperer. I can't get Lynch to do what like Hot Tub did. So I mean, we'll see. Like Andre said, there's like 4 or 5, 6 or 7 of these guys that have first round grades. So we're gonna take a look at all of them and kind of see who's the guy who best fits our system.
Absolutely.
Taz, is Turnbull, is he the cream of the crop when you look at him?
From the 2 games I saw him play, the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma, which he dominated, and against Texas Tech, which, again, he just took the game over himself. He will be the number 1 quarterback off the board. That's my prediction. So whoever needs a quarterback, you better scout him out or don't scout him out. Just put him on your draft board. Number 1. He is your guy. 6'4", 230, 23 years old. Just a monster arm. Just great IQ. Stays in the film room. This is your franchise quarterback for those of you guys that need a quarterback. Now, I wouldn't be mad if you let him drop to, the 3rd round, since I don't have a 1st and 2nd round pick this time around. And, I'll take him. Hey, him and Kaiser could lead us to the promised land. So,
expert. And you got to realize that when you're trying to select a franchise quarterback in the top 10, most of those guys that are in the top 10 because of bad quarterback play. So if you select the wrong quarterback, it can set your franchise back 3-5 years. So making sure you scouting out this guy, go to dinner with him, go talk to his high school sweetheart. Man, you got to get all the information you can to be able to know what you are getting. Because if you miss on this guy, it can fuck your franchise up.
Very true.
Yeah, definitely can take you in the wrong direction. And you're right. Most of those top 10 guys are having struggles because of their quarterback play. So, guys, there's only 5 guys we take a look at. But there's one more topic we want to talk about here on the Gridiron. And this is a new topic, and it is the 2020 Combine coming up. H-Speed, how important is the Combine to you when you start looking at drafting some of these players?
I think for me, the body of work is more important than the Combine, for me personally. I want to know what's their top 3 skills, man. I think the top 3 skills tell me more about the player than the actual Combine, because we've seen, like in last year's draft with those cornerbacks, they didn't run the fastest times, but when we seen their draft card, they were 93, 92, 94 speed with some good acceleration. So, and they could cover. They had good man cover as far as the cornerbacks. As far as the quarterbacks, man, you just want to see what skills they possess first. And then the Combine basically just validates the skills. If you have a guy with 3 great skills and a bang-up Combine, man, you really get started to get excited.
All right, Tone Dog. So H-Speed's looking more at the total body of work. But can you maybe get a guy that is from a smaller school or maybe not so well known, and maybe his body of work just doesn't look as good because of the talent around him, but then he goes to the Combine and he just shows out? Does that really boost his stock when you're starting to look at some of these players?
Of course, man. I got to say, don't let the smooth taste fool you. And so basically what that means is, even though this guy may not be like your 1st or 2nd or 3rd round grade, if this guy has showed out at the combine, you definitely know that this guy has the potential to play. I mean, because if you're invited to the combine, you have to know that only the best of the best are invited to this showcase. And so if you're showing out amongst the best of the best, even if you're in your underwear and tighty whities or whatever, however they're looking at you, you're going to get a look. You know what I mean? So there's some guys that's going to be in the 5th, 6th, and the 7th round who have a 1st or 2nd round grade on these combine projections that you're looking at. Like you might have like the end that we're looking at. I mean, let's say he was in the 5th or 6th round, but he has the number 1 strength. Obviously, strength is like the most important thing when you're looking at O-line and D-line. So you got to kind of take everything with a grain of salt. And again, kind of like Andre said at the beginning, those 3 attributes that you get at the front that you're looking at, those are kind of what you want to look at first. And then you want to kind of put the combine numbers to back up what you're looking at to make sure that the story is straight. Because if something looks fishy, you're going to have to maybe second guess or even like a first guess. Let's say those first 3 things are like C pluses and B minuses, but then he comes in and he blows everybody else off the water with his combine scores. That's going to make you go back and relook at the tape. Go back and talk to his coaches. Say what happened. Was he hurt? Is this guy a locker room? Is he a cancer? Was he getting into fights with his teammates? Like something else. There has to be something to make up the story. And I think marrying the 2 or the top 3 traits along with the combine will actually give you the story.
Wow. Tone Dog just gave you Dynasty Combine Instructions 101 right here on the Gridiron. All right, Taz, how important is the combine to the Los Angeles? To your Rams?
The combine is just a part of the whole picture. Like H-Speed said, you want to look at those top 3 skills. That's important. So, that gets them on your radar. But then you want to wait and see, these combine numbers and how the combine numbers fit with those 3 skills and how all of that fits for your scheme. Because, if it's a player, if it's a linebacker and he doesn't have the speed and you need a middle linebacker, then do you really want to go with this guy? Even though he may have great attributes, his combine just don't support, him filling that role on your team. So, you have to look at the whole entity, and combine is just a part of it.
No doubt about that. All right, guys. This has been the Gridiron. I want to make sure we get a chance to get everybody to give a last word in. So we'll start with H-Speed. H-Speed, what you got for the Dynasty?
Man, the offseason and building the team is the most exciting part of the whole process for me. The games are fun as well, but I love to put together a team. I love to be able to make the moves in the offseason to increase my team's chance at winning, during the year. You can't win, you can't win week 1. You got to win in the offseason, in the weight room. You got to win with the scouts. You got to win with, with your coaches. And that's how you have a winning organization. And that's what we strive to be here in the nation's capital with the Redskins.
No doubt. All right, Tone Dog, what you got for the Dynasty before we get out of here?
Not too much. I just want to say kind of in terms of kind of what we just went over, this combine is truly important. Again, we only have a few more seasons of this Madden 18, so high stakes is coming out. Now you want to actually start getting the guys on your roster who are going to make you better, who are going to make a move to put you in a position for this high stakes season. So now you're shopping for the guys who are basically going to set you apart come that season when it's time to pick for your Madden 19 team. So it's very important. Like Andre said earlier, you got to get these guys right. If you need to go back and watch the tape, talk to the coach, talk to the girlfriend, talk to the parents, you need to do it because these guys are going to make or break your team.
No doubt. All right, Taz. Do the Rams make the postseason in the Dynasty this year?
Man, it's a battle. Andy Force just refuses to go ahead and take another L. I mean, I'm cool with, having a tying record with him because I won the division. So I'm good with that. But we definitely on a mission. We're just taking it one game at a time. Definitely doing our due diligence in these scouting these prospects. I love, just like the guy said, I love the off-season part of it. I especially love once we're 2 and 3 seasons in and, the real NFL players are starting to phase out and you really have the team that you are building. So, if you're just now thinking about high stakes, you are already behind the 8 ball, and I appreciate it because you're just making my chances even better.
That's definitely right. This is definitely chess. It's not checkers. Takes a lot of work to build your franchise. Can't live off of those veterans too much longer in the dynasty as we start getting prepared for high stakes. But guys, this has been another episode of the Gridiron on the DML Network. I'm your boy Expert, and I got the homie HB, Taz, and Tone with me. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, leave us a comment, let us know how we did. We appreciate y'all tuning in, but we out.
Thank you for tuning into the DML Network. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button below.